Devendra Pant, Chief Economist, India Ratings at Fitch Group, joins us on the show right now to talk about the data that has come out. Devendra, how do you read into this? I mean, was this unexpected? Was it a bit of a shocker that the government has pegged the FY13 growth at 5%? And conversely, would this mean that the government is typically optimistic and therefore the actual growth may be lower than 5%?
Well, this is the number which is the lowest among any estimate, be it multinational organizations, rating agencies, or private forecasters. People were talking about more like 5.2, 5.3. The consensus poll run by most of the wires and other agencies were at 5.5%. Even otherwise very conservative IMF, while releasing Article 4 numbers yesterday, gave 5.4% growth for this fiscal. Looking at from that angle, the 5% looks really very, very low number. What it says is the second half of this fiscal, the average growth will be something around 4.6%, which is, if we look forward the 5 at 1 for a moment, the second half growth of 4.6 is really, really very bad. If we do some dissection of these numbers, what we are finding that the construction sector is expected to slow down from 8.8% in first half to 3.3% in second half. There are certain other sectors which are affecting, say for example, growth of finance, real estate and business services sector is expected to go down by roughly close to 3 percentage points in second half compared to the first half. Now these numbers, if we look at what government is saying all along, they will restrict the deficit to 5.3% of the GDP. A large role will be played by the disinvestment receipt and other non-tax revenues which the government will collect. Maybe they will have the second round of telecom auctions. But looking at the expenditure side of the data, the government expenditure, which was 11.6% of the GDP last fiscal, is going up to 11.8%. So there is a 2 percentage point gain there in the expenditure. The tax revenues, we know what is the situation right now. So one of these two numbers, either the 5% real GDP growth is not correct, and if this is correct, then the chances of restricting deficit to 5.3% will be a tall order.
We talk about the future outlook. You just heard out Dr. C. Rangarajan, who says that, the growth next year could perhaps be in the region of 6.5 to 7%. Would you also concur with these kind of estimates, and what do you believe that this will be contingent on? Would it be purely policy action by the government?
Well, our assessment for this year was at par with the consensus of 5.5. Next year's assessment was 6.3%. And all these assessments, the major assumption is the monsoon is going to be the normal. There will be a favorable effect on agriculture growth for the last year, because whatever the better Rabi harvest which is sown this year will give result in Rabi production next year. So this is one upside which will take up the GDP growth by a few basis points. Based on the present situation, the Australian Meteorological Center has given the outlook for Indian monsoon, and according to them, the El Nino effect is not present right now. So all these assessments are A, based on the normal monsoon, B, the assessment is based on whatever the policy action we had seen since middle of September. There will be the investment revival. Some impact we had seen of that sentimental change on the currency market, but the major assumption is that it will lead to investment revival. And last but not the least, there will be some stability in the global growth. Wherever they are, they will not move downward from there. Whatever will be the will be the change that will be that change will be on the positive direction. So most of the forecasters are working on the basis of these assumptions, and based on that, 7% straight away jumping from 5 will be slightly difficult unless we get the rain god is very happy with us. We had a normal monsoon spread over country and over time is even, and we see some of the action which had started with the cabinet committee on investment, if that leads to fast tracking of the projects. However, what we believe, there is a large portion or large part of the clearances are also from the state departments, say state pollution control boards and other, etc. If all states give a supplement what the CCI is doing, then that may be 6 or 6.5% may be feasible. Right. But 7 as of now looks a bit difficult.
Sure. All right, Devendra, we'll leave it at that. Thanks very much for joining in and giving us your opinion on the FY13 GDP number.